We are at day 6 of our 100 days of community. I have a little bit of a cold. I contemplated doing this from my bed. So, we have been going through community building steps. Good morning, Maria. Hi, Tiffany. And doing so by learning how to be in community with each other. And in order to be in community with each other, we have to dismantle the supremacy culture that has been handed to us and the blueprint of oppression, because that's pretty much what we are under. And that is the intent of this 100 days of community. I shared, for years I've been talking about decolonization and shadow work and self work. And I finally put it together because the end goal is what people want. You want to be in community. I have an amazing community that many people are quite shocked sometimes. Like, how do you even know that person? Or, oh my God, I can't even believe that you and Desiree are friends, right? Because you are looking at people with a certain view, right? So you're shocked when you see that they may know somebody like me, that walks, talks, acts like me, et cetera, et cetera. That leads to our day 6 sort of thing. So what we're doing today, and again, pardon me, my nose is stuffy. Um, I am at like day 22 of quitting smoking, so everything is just draining and releasing from my body, and I'm here for the release. But pardon me as we move through this. Day 6: naming and addressing privilege in community. 3 takeaways, right? 1, privilege is a system, not a personal failing. I think that that's super important to hold on to. Privilege is a system, not a personal failing. Oh, God. Naming privilege creates space for accountability. If you follow me, if you continue staying with me, I am all about accountability. I've even shared when my children practice accountability and how we do that here in the home. There is no love without accountability. That is some love and light bullshit. That is some spiritual bypassing. I don't love you if I can't hold you accountable. That is an impossible thing. Whenever I share these kinds of stories, I love storytelling. And I remember I was like a hellion of a child, right? Like juvenile delinquent, all of that good shit. I gave my mom the fucking blues. Blues, blues, blues. There's a lot of reasons for that. Eventually, as you get to know me, I'll share all of those things. However, she used to tell me, she used to be like, Desi, thank you, Jackie. She used to be like, Desi, I love you. And because I love you, I have an expectation of you. And those that will accept anything that you offer them don't have any expectations of you. They don't think much of you. And I operate my entire life in relationships based on that, right? If I don't think much of you, right? Like I don't pay attention to, like the memas and papas who are absolutely racist. I really don't think very much of you. So I don't even care to give you attention to try. I don't give a flying fuck what you think. I just need you to stay from around me. That's it. Period. Point blank. That's my boundary. You stay over there. If we are in community together, whether we agree or disagree or whatever, because I don't believe that people need to be in agreement or consistently to be in community, because that's an echo chamber. That's how cults start, right? But I need to be able to turn around and say, I'm going to hold you accountable. And you will hear me say this statement over and over again. Accountability is neutral. It's a statement of fact. I will see if I could share the Instagram post where I showed you guys how I do this with my children. But basically, it breaks down to like, if, let's say you break the egg, I broke the egg. That's neutral. That's it. I don't want to hear about, well, it was in the refrigerator. And then when I open, I don't give a shit about none of that. Did you break the egg? You broke the egg. So they'll turn around and they say, Mom, I broke the egg. Okay, awesome. Now we could try to, how did that happen? Well, when I went in the refrigerator, I didn't open it fully and I was trying to do this while I was holding my phone. Oh, okay. So now what do we need to do? Well, we need to clean it up. And what are we going to do next time? Okay, well, I'm going to put my phone down. I'm going to pay more attention. See how we went through that? Own it. You see the reason why it happened, and now you have a repair. And we could do it differently next time. So that's just my little thing on accountability. Sorry, my screen locked up because sometimes I'll go on a tangent. All right, so naming privilege creates space for accountability is point 2. Point 3 is leveraging privilege as a tool for liberation. You're gonna love this. Jackie says, I do this with my 8-year-old daughter. Yes, yes. Hey, Vix. It works. It's so simple, right? There's no shame, there's no blame. Life happens. That's like one of my running statements in the house. Life happens. That's it. But you're going to own it, right? If you did it, you got to own it. And that's fine. So now we're going to go round this back up. And again, forgive me because I could feel the brain fog in my head. So if this does not feel succinct, I'm hoping that it will make sense when I write about it later. Okay. So naming and addressing privilege in community. Privilege is a system, not a personal failing. Privilege operates within systems of power and hierarchy. It's not about blame or shame, but about recognizing how systems grant unearned advantages to some while oppressing others. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Tell him no more candy. Um, so privilege doesn't make somebody bad, right? Like I'm not upset that white people have quote unquote white privilege. I want there to be an awareness that there is a system that has completely utilized you, stripped you of all of it is to be you, right? Took away your culture, your language, your spiritual practices, your lands, your homes, sometimes your names, and then told you were privileged above people that they were oppressing stronger than they were oppressing you, and tells you that you have an advantage in this world because you are white. And while, yes, that is true, I personally do not see a privilege in having no connection, no community, no language, no lands, no homes. I don't find it to be a privileged place to be. So, interpersonally, not privileged. Systemically, privileged. Does that make sense? Interpersonally is how we commune with each other and the people around us. Systemically is the overarching systems that are controlling our lives, movements, thoughts, actions, and everything. So interpersonally, you have zero privilege over anybody because you have nothing. Whiteness and the creation of it is a void, an energetic void. It stripped you of every single thing that made you an individual that was a part of an amazing tribe or clan and lands and all of those things. It has displaced you. You are just as displaced as anybody else here. Systemically, way too much privilege, way too much power that you didn't even ask for, and half the time don't even benefit from, right? This is why it's so difficult for white people to understand white privilege, right? Because you think of like, I'm poor, I'm struggling, or, I'm barely making my rent, I'm disabled, I'm queer, I'm autistic. We know that. We know. And as someone, right, I share with you guys that I know that decolonization works because I could tell you a story of me being 18 in sociology class. Okay. We listen and we don't judge. So listen, I was 18 and I'm in sociology class, and the professor is like super duper black guy, like obviously very okay in his blackness, right? The afro, all of the good stuff. He was an amazing professor. And me and this white guy were like the only white people, and I say that intentionally, in the class. Even he was looking at me like, what the fuck did you just say? And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, my grandparents were immigrants and they grew up, they came over here and they had their kids in the projects and da da da. I went through all of the white talking points in America because, again, there's a whole white Republican woman in America until I was about 28 years old. So I'm telling you that decolonization actually does work. But these are the things that we believe, right? So you're sitting down and it's confusing when you are white bodied and you're like, what are you talking about? There's zero privilege. And the reason why you think that is because classism, right here, right? My XY axis again. Classism impacts you guys over here the way racism impacts us along this line. So when you hear privilege, privilege sounds like money, accessibility, right? The ability to move up and down those hierarchies of whiteness. When we hear privilege right here, it's like, can I just go to the fucking store? Like that is like, can I go to the store and not be assumed that I'm robbing it? Can I go and just exist? Can I just walk around this world existing without somebody assuming the absolute worst of it? That is those systems of privilege, right? So it's not a personal failing. Nobody thinks that you're a bad person. We just want you to be accountable for it, aware of it, take action, and dismantle it, not utilize it, because that's weird. When I hear people turn around and like, well, now's the time to utilize our privilege, I'm like, boy, you guys, and usually by you guys, it's white women. And white feminism, I always say this, is the patriarchy in pink. You guys have no idea how to be in community outside of whiteness. And you have no idea how to act outside of whiteness because you've been socialized in and around white men your entire lives for generations. You only understand power as it is for him. So you want the power he has. That is not beneficial to us. We are good on that. We want nobody to have that amount of power over anyone. That is a liberation journey, right? We don't need you to use your privilege. We want you to recognize it, dismantle the powers, the systems that give you privilege over me simply existing. Hope that that makes that clear. No one, Jackie, not a damn person. I don't want, and it's so weird to even want power. I don't even want power over these kids. I'm like, when are they going to do more things? Having power and control over another person and desiring that is weird behavior for me. I want you to be sovereign. I want to feel chosen in all of my relationships, right? I want to feel chosen in being in community. I want to feel chosen as being a parent. Like if my kids had a choice, do they want to be with me? Or would they be like, I can't wait to get the hell out of here? Right. I don't want someone to ever be in community, in relationship with me because they feel they have to. I do that even in the way I educate. If this does not resonate, don't be here. I share a bunch of other people because the way I present this message may not land right in your body. And first and foremost, trust your body. Even if what I'm saying is right, if it doesn't feel right, like, you know what? Somebody else is saying the same message. As long as it's liberation, I don't care how you're getting it. I don't want to control people. It's not cool. It's too much. It's too much work and stress. That's another thing we'll touch on. The weight of actually being an oppressor. But anywho, uh, where were we at? Privilege is a system, not a personal failing. Two. Hey, Andrew. Naming privilege creates space for accountability. Identifying privilege within ourselves and others allows us to approach community work with humility, honesty, and integrity, right? So when we name our privilege, it's not an attack and not in the weird way that I just said, like, well, we have our privilege and we're going to use it. No, just acknowledging it, right? Like I recognize I have power over my children. That's one of those pillars of supremacy culture, right? When I did this series here on Substack, on decolonizing our parenting, it's an I'm going to say this and it's going to sound really uncomfortable. Parenting is an inherently abusive relationship. There's no two ways about that. You cannot separate the dynamics of abuse from the dynamics of parenting, right? There are all sorts of power dynamics. We're talking about age, finances, uh, cognitive ability, able bodiedness, right? If I am upset in here, my children have nowhere to go. They cannot, I mean, they can get up and go in the backyard or whatever, but it's not like they could make a decision to be like, you know what, I don't want to live here with this mad woman. Like, I'm going to go out on my own and I can take care of myself. They are completely and utterly dependent upon me, no matter what mood I'm in, no matter how I'm acting, no matter how I'm speaking, no matter how I'm treating them. That is an inherently abusive relationship. When you can name that, right, and not do the whole, I'm a good mom. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. That's just life. I have good days, bad days, just like anybody else, right? Can you get what? Bro, you are whispering as if you're still not disrupting this live and I can't hear you. You can have a lollipop. Um, that's one of those tiny little humans that I'm supposed to have power over. So when I can name that, when I can turn around and say that, oh, hold on. Jackie, oh wow, this is true. I never looked at it that way, this way, but this is exactly why I'm cautious with my daughter when I'm not having a good day, right? Just that simple. And that is naming the privilege, right? Like, I don't have to turn around like how yesterday I told you guys there's no good white people. I don't need to be a good mom. I don't need that label either. I'm a human being. I have good days, great days, bad days, in between days. And really, I'm not the person that gets to say if I'm a good mom or not. I have 4 kids. So I remind people one of them don't talk to me. So apparently to that one, I'm not a good mom. Okay. There's some days the 5-year-old tells me how much they don't like me. I can't I that's just who it is, you know? She's literally said, I hate you. You're the worst mom ever. And I'm like, if my identity was wrapped up in being a mom, that would probably bother me. But it's not. I'm a human being. I'm a whole entire human, and I want them to have full, whole, entire human existence as well. So that is what that looks like to name the privilege, right? That would be, and that's why I don't think it's a privilege. It's weird. When you put it that way, don't you see how weird it is to have power over someone that you didn't ask for? Like, yeah, I asked to be a mom. I did not ask to have power over these people. I just want to be able to offer them a good life, some guidance, and freedom. Like, I love them. I don't want to control them. So when you can name it in that sort of way, it kind of makes it real and tangible. Like, oh, I do have this systemic power over people I've never seen, never met over the globe. Like, I remind white people, you oppress the globe, the entire globe. The lollipop bag is in the pantry. Anywho, back to our scheduled programming. And there is a weight that comes with that, right? Because it's like, damn, I just want to be, you could see it. I just want to be in community. I just want to be friends. That's nice. But, and, or you have to recognize your position in this, right? You may want those things, but that does not make you safe. That does not make you able to have those things. And I tell people all the time, if you don't like that, this is why you're doing the work of dismantling these systems. Not because you're going to save anybody else, but because you're going to save yourself. Like, save yourself. Secure your own oxygen mask first. I'm late. I just joined. I'm so irritated because my daughter was saying she's mad. She had to pay gas money. Like, then what? Then you could take an Uber. Anyway, I know this isn't the place for that. Just saying I miss being on time, arguing with her. Well, thank you for that share. And there's no need to argue. Like, here's the advice on that. You got gas money? Because gas takes like, takes gas to get you to where you have to go. If you don't have that, I'm not responsible for that. Yeah. And we're done with that conversation. Like, I can't be responsible. Like, we are poor. That's poverty. That is the reality, right? We're not going to pretend that we are not poor. We are poor. We are a large family. This is communal care. Okay. You need to get somewhere. Gas needs to be in the car. This person, that person. Everybody has to come together. This morning, I do the same thing. Okay, baby, get a lollipop. This morning, in order for me to get ready, and I was feeling all like stuffy and everything, I said, listen, guys, I need some help because they all woke up at the same time. And I'm like, I do not enjoy waking up and parenting as soon as my eyes open. It's not a joy. I like to ease into my morning. And I was like, okay, since we're up, this is what we're doing. I'm going to grab the laundry. I need everybody to figure out what they're doing to help so I can be ready for my live at 9:30. So Shady Baby and Antonio helped put away the laundry that I folded. Kieran put the sausage in the air fryer. Morgan did the eggs. Everybody ate. Everybody's done. Now they're looking for lollipops. It has to be community care, and that starts in the front end at your home and with yourself. This is Shady Baby. Bye, girl. This is my nephew Antonio. Love you. Uh, so naming the privilege creates space for accountability, as we just mentioned, right? So I can recognize that I have systemic power over the children in my home. I own that. It makes me more aware of how I move with them, recognizing that it is an immediate abusive relationship, period, point blank, just based on power dynamics. 3, this is the fun part, leveraging privilege as a tool for liberation. Privilege can be used to amplify marginalized voices, redistribute resources, and challenge oppressive systems. I have a whole series Haven and I spoke about a couple years ago. I think it's on their podcast, and if so, I will ask them for the link to it. Where we talk about it's not privilege, right? Because of all the reasons I said, but it's leverage. What you have if you are white and not at that top of the pyramid scheme, right? If you are white and disabled, queer, fat, non-Christian, gay, trans, autistic, anywhere that does not fit the definition of what it means to be white in the upper echelons of whiteness, you have leverage. And everyone can leverage whiteness, right? You could leverage your proximity to whiteness. You could leverage the idea that people think you're closer to white. Whiteness can be leveraged because it's a tool. When you are in a white body, it could be leveraged the most, right? So I want you guys to think about it in that sort of way, like it not being a privilege. There is no privilege to have no community. There is no privilege to have no lands to call your own, which is why you see these people clinging so hard to this land. Because if you had a place to go, if you knew where you came from, if you were connected to your people, you'd be like, okay, cool, give these folks their land back. Like, it's just not that serious. Land back is a global movement, right? It is a global movement. When I explain that, I'm like, land back means everywhere. Ireland is still colonized in the north, still fucking Britain. In 2025, land back is global. So, anyway, privilege is not a good word for me in the way that I do the work, though I understand why it was coined and the utilization of it. Leverage. You could leverage that privilege. What does that look like? Okay. So you turn around, you hear myself or other educators speaking, and you create a platform. Do you know how many people I talk to who are white? And like, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I'm like, so and so's doing that. They've been doing that. Like, been doing this, right? How many organizations have been doing the work of liberation for generations? And then all of a sudden, this has impacted white people, and white people have started new organizations, whole new nonprofits. And then you actually can leverage that whiteness, right? So you have access to funds, you have access to all sorts of things that were not available to anybody else. And instead of coming alongside them, partnering with them, lifting them up, you just created your own. And that is how we bring a capitalistic mindset into liberation work, right? Where you see, I personally don't believe that white people should do anti racism work. I talk about what the heck is that chick's name? What is the white lady? Jane Elliott. A thorn in my side because what is it, 20 something years she has been doing this work, right? And she's so avant garde, it's so edgy, right? Well, how would you feel if you were black? Ma'am, can you tell them how it would feel? Like, it's weird to me that she is considered one of like the foremost leaders in anti-racism education. And all I and many other black people see is white people profiting from the pain of black people, which is not new, which is very American, which is very white supremacy, right? Because Jane is there not black people that have been talking? Did Jane platform or elevate other Black people, thought leaders, those coming behind her? No, she has made a complete and utter living in capitalism. Where we were the capital, she is quite literally capitalizing off of us. What? I will stand on that. I will die on that hill that white people should not be doing anti racism education because it is simply capitalizing on Black people as capital. And it is disgusting. However, you could leverage that because obviously we know how the system works. So here you have a platform, lift people up. You have some extra money, throw it around, redistribute the resources. I had a GoFundMe going because my backyard, my pipe broke, flooded my entire backyard, and my gazebo crashed down from the weight of the snow. So it took out my furniture that's underneath there, all my outdoor movie equipment, yada, yada, yada. My insurance company does not cover the repair of the pipe, but will cover what the water damages. But that's only inside a home, not outside a home. And my deductible is $2,000. So it's like by the time, even if I could finagle this, that, and the third, I probably would get a check for $500, which would not fix the pipe, replace any of the stuff. I did a GoFundMe, and it has exceeded what I was like hoping to get at least 2 grand, right? Like, hey, I can replace some of this stuff, this, that, other thing. It's exceeded that. You know what I did? Started giving people money. I'm like, okay, I took what I need, right? I'm gonna take what I need and I'm going to redistribute that. Oh, I'm gonna send you something. Oh, I noticed that you had something. Mutual aid is going to always be the answer because we have the ability and the wealth among us as the people to do this work, right? So that is going to be what it looks like, right? You could recognize when you have a position of power, and then you could leverage that position of power for equity. So those are my little simple things. And my reflection points for this day is to ask yourself, where does privilege show up in your life? And how can you name it without shame? Right? I don't want you guys sitting down like, oh my God, I don't. It's so pointless. Shame is a construct of Christianity, and all it does is keep us frozen. Like, oh my God, it's so terrible. I realized this. I remember when the Roe v. Wade conversation was happening, and I was on TikTok, right? And I turned around, and this is how I just imagine her voice, right? And I'm talking, and I'm like, why I can't believe white people and being in community or doing this work is because you treat your own people terribly, right? And this white woman answered me, and I immediately have a thought and a voice, right? Because that's how stereotypes and stuff work. And she's like, I get it now. That's how I heard the voice. I get it now. We left every other woman behind as we forged whatever the fuck. And I'm like, that is how blinding white privilege is. You think you left every other woman behind as if there are not poor white women, as if there are not women in South Georgia right now in rural areas without access to food, without access to doctors, to abortions, or any of that. And I'm like, and that is how those hierarchies of whiteness. You didn't fuck everybody else. You left your own behind. And I cannot trust you in community when you call people that look like you trash. Because nigga ain't too far behind. Okay? Like, I refuse. I refuse to believe you. If your activism is not from the hood to the holler, I don't want to fucking know about it. I'm just as concerned about white kids on dirt floors with their parents on meth as I am black kids in the hood and their fucking parents on dope. I don't know. It's all the same for me. It is all. Yes, Jackie, with the hard ER. It ain't far behind. If you can call your own trash, looking at me and thinking of anything else is super fucking easy. I don't trust it. I don't believe it. So when you have those things, don't sit there in shame. Don't sit there with the, oh, poor me. I'm so privileged and white. We left everybody behind. You left your own behind. And that is where your community is going to start. You need, because we're here because of that. Because when you guys ask the question, how do these poor, Republicards or whatever you guys call them, how did we get them there or whatever? It's because of that. They feel completely and utterly left out of community. You don't see them, you don't advocate. Imagine advocating for an entire other group of people and leaving behind your own poor and disenfranchised. That white don't cash in for green nowhere in America or around the world. And many of those people are generationally poor. Okay. And they want and need to believe in the dream that is America. They need to. They need to. They must believe in it. So, and they have to have somebody to blame. They have to have somebody to blame, and it's always going to be us, the Mexicans, the indigenous of Turtle Island. It's always going to be somebody else instead of them turning around and paying attention that your own people are doing that to you. I didn't take your job. Mexicans don't want your job. You don't want their job. Like, what are we talking about here? Realistically, nobody wants the migrant worker's job? Nobody. Nobody. The migrant worker doesn't want that job, but they're willing to do it, right? So these are those realities. So don't sit there and start feeling bad. We all have some level of privilege somewhere over someone in the world. Period, point blank, full stop. I'm literally talking about privilege or the while I'm sitting on a fucking $1,500 phone with a $4,000 laptop. Like, let's be realistic here. However, race is the first identity. So that white leverage is something so much more powerful. So sit with that, recognize it, and then utilize your leverage for liberation for yourself and for your own folks. Like, get together, reach across that divide. It's not a us versus them situation. We all get free or nobody's free. And that means everybody. That means, again, I task white women, give white men the same grace black women have given you. Because y'all, that's a whole other topic we're going to get into. The misandry inside of whiteness is absolutely wild. Because you're not looking at the weight that it takes to be an oppressor, especially that's not benefiting from it in capitalistic systems. Imagine oppressing the world and you're getting up and having to go to work every fucking day and barely making it. That's depressing. I'd be angry too. So sit with all of those things. And let's run through those 3 points. And thank you for sitting with my brain fog and my runny nose. Oh, I skipped to day 5. Let me scroll back. Naming and addressing privilege in community. Privilege is a system, not a personal failing. Naming privilege creates space for accountability. Leveraging privilege is a tool for liberation. Let me see. Taylor, exploring interdependence with my demographic is wild. Learning to be vulnerable with boundaries. Yeah, boundaries are going to always be the always that. Like, I don't do anything without boundaries, right? I see I'm at the top of my time. I try to even respect time boundaries, right? So yes, boundaries are very important, and I recognize how difficult it is. Again, I grew up inside of these systems, so I understand how they work, right? I even me, even me, even me were not allowed to play with certain kids because they were called white trash, and that was for my own family. So I really know how it works inside of there. So I'm telling you, I can help you dismantle it and be in community. Thank you for sitting with us, Desiree. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for sitting with me. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being uncomfortable because I know that I don't deliver the most comfortable of messages, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. I'm not going to hold no punches or anything, right? I'm going to talk to you with respect because I want to offer you your humanity. That's it. I'm offering you your humanity, some love, some accountability, and community building. And that's how we're going to do this: is to be honest with each other, right? Tiffany says learning isn't always comfortable. No, it's not, and unlearning is even more uncomfortable. My own journey of decolonization was like I told you. I was like, I didn't even know redlining. I was like, what? That can't be real. That's not America. Like, yeah, it was wild. It was wild. So I'm here for the unfolding of it all. And Sabrina says, yes, please do not sugarcoat. No, I shan't. And I will be back tomorrow. And I'm gonna show up every day, whether I'm feeling good, whether the kids are running around or not. And I show up this way online because I want you to feel comfortable also showing up as is. Even when I was doing this as Zoom meetings, I'm like, come as you are, right? Wrap a blanket around, just stay in bed if you need to. Do what you must. But I will see you guys later. You're super welcome. This episode will be on replay in the article. Again, reflections, journal prompts, actionable steps with a preview for tomorrow. First 10 days, free 99. After that, paid subscribers only. Keep it more intimate. But if a financial barrier is an issue, scholarships are always available. You just email me, scholarships, DesireeBStevens.com. I will comp you the year subscription, no questions asked, because I trust you. And that's it. All right. I am too. I'm loving Substack, Michelle. Loving it. All right. Oh, I did see a gifted subscription. Thank you, Sherry. That was so beautiful. I deeply appreciate that. Yes, you can also offer gift subscriptions, group subscriptions, right? Like this could be something, like you guys have book clubs. You could do like a liberation club. Everybody get together and get like 10% off of your subscription. And then you guys could sit down and have conversations about it with the follow up article. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you tomorrow. I'm super excited for this. Thank you. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for showing up for you. Thank you for showing up for community. See you tomorrow.